Let me be the first to say, if you haven't heard it already, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and remember, context is everything. Media Network founder and CEO John Michael is watching a TV show. This TV show here is Twin Peaks, and I'm watching it for the 21st time. And in this 21st viewing, I'm just telling you stuff that I like. There's no spoilers here, just telling you stuff I like. So if you watch episode by episode with me, you might enjoy what you see. You might learn a little bit more about the show, and the more you know, the more you grow. Here we go. At 1 minute and 30 seconds into this episode, which is episode 6 of season 2, um, things are getting serious here. So it starts out the same way it ended. It ends with this very serious moment when Dale Cooper meets the occupying spirit, Mike, who's occupying the body of Gerard. And so there they are here, and they're just repeating the same exact lines that occurred at the very end of the previous episode to just reorient the bizarreness of the previous episode. But they do so in this kind of like knowing what I just like the writing. I like the way it flows. Um, Also, like the humor of Gordon Cole not having good hearing, and so Dale Cooper says, "Gordon, I understand you're heading back to Bend, Oregon." And I just like that he has to repeat himself really loud because he remembers that. And I also really like how this scene ends with a clink of 2 mugs, and then it just goes to the next scene. Chaos is ensuing here in the Great Northern as uh, they're looking for the killer who's in the Great Northern. But this is a choo-choo train here at 4 minutes. Ben Horn is storming down the halls, puffing on a cigar, and it's just really great to see. It's great television right there. Just see him puffing on a cigar, choo-choo train, and it's cacophony. It's a cacophony in there, and I'll tell you why. Uh, Obviously, the purpose of the scene is to show tension and stress as the guy collapses, Gerard, as Mike collapses. Um, so it could just be footsteps that they use, but they decide to amplify the cacophony of sound and create more tension in the viewer's body by having these bouncing balls create this ba-ding, 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 just like this echoing something that is underlying the whole scene. Very nice, very nice. A very peaceful morning here in the Palmer household, something that you don't see very much. At 8:25, the underlying music, which is Louis Armstrong's I See Trees of Green, Red Roses Too, yada yada yada, and Red Roses Too, is the song that is really guiding the whole flow of the scene. And it ends with him saying, yes. And as he's saying, yeah, it cuts off the yes and it goes to a truck, which is a really nice little change of pace because Louis Armstrong has a gruff voice and a truck is the essence of gruff sound. Yeah. At 13 minutes and 10 seconds, if you'll recall, early in the series, Bobby and Mike have to do a drug transaction with Leo Johnson, and they're in the woods, and Leo screams at them, "Leo needs a new pair of shoes." And so Leo's new shoes are a theme throughout. That's where they find the drugs when that Andy accidentally finds at the beginning of season 2. And now again, he's just repeating, "New shoes." And that's the only words that he says when he's in his faded stupor. So new shoes is a theme of Leo Johnson's that is reoccurring here in season 2. 20 minutes and 52 seconds. You're seeing the bubbly nature of Nadine that hypnotized Big Ed into marrying her in that one night fling. She must have been very bubbly back then, I would assume, but now she's very cantankerous. Well, now she's actually bubbly again because she has head trauma. But you're seeing a little glimpse into what the personality would have been of Nadine back in her high school days, which is when the incident that was explained at the beginning of season 2 that led to Big Ed not being with Norma and in turn being with Nadine occurred. And if you don't know what that is, you can watch it back. It's probably my favorite episode 1 of season 2. Now, all this while, here at 2250, all this while I thought that Bobby Briggs didn't know that Hank Jennings shot Leo Johnson at the end of season 1, in the last episode of season 1. I didn't realize that Bobby knew that. But I guess he did. So Bobby notes that Hank shot Leo, and this is the first sighting of Bobby's friend Mike in the entire season here. That's really it. And this is New Shoes again. 25 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, this is not said, but you can note that this is what is occurring. Dale Cooper has said, I think on 2 occasions, when 2 events occur simultaneously in reference to the same subject, always pay strict attention. And so he's looking at Laura Palmer's diary, and he says, one day I'm going to tell the world about Ben Horn. As he reads that, knock, 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 Audrey's there and says, I have to tell you about my father, Ben Horn. And so with the 2 things happening simultaneously, his rationale is immediately, I must pay strict attention. We need a warrant for the arrest of Ben Horn. Like that. 31 minutes and 30 seconds. There are owls in the roadhouse. Something is happening. Isn't it? Is what Dale Cooper says to the log lady. Something is happening. Isn't it? At 34 minutes, we see Sarah Palmer, apparently drugged, laying on the ground, seeing the white horse appear. White horse imagery is something that's symbolically significant, but there's a momentary smile that grazes her face as she sees the white horse, and that smile fades into unconsciousness as the white horse fades. And here we realize really the most shocking revelation of all, if you're watching the show for the first time, that this is really bad. Leland, at the very bare minimum, Leland Palmer allows his wife to be drugged and pass out in the foyer of their home. And that's at the bare minimum. That's like, if you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, the best case scenario is Leland Palmer lets his wife pass out on the floor of the foyer while he stands and ignores. At 38 minutes and 50 seconds, I realize you only need about 15 people in frame to make a room look full. And I say this not only as an analyzer of this show, but as a band leader myself. Also, here at 38 minutes and 50 seconds, it is happening again. It is happening again. So, a little triple, because Cooper asked, something is happening, isn't it? And 2 more times, this giant says, it is happening again. It is happening again. So 3 times, something is happening. Just, a little rule of 3. Things are said 3 times when they're important, generally. Especially, I guess if you're going to be cryptic about stuff, too. Say it 3 times so that there's a little bit of a way that it sticks for the cryptic, deep viewer. Show that you're being intentional. Now, if you made it this far, you know that this is a very impactful scene here, as Leland Palmer is revealed to be the killer, as Leland Palmer, in a legitimately disturbing, if you've watched the show this far, moment, you see that he is Bob. Bob is inhabiting his body. Truly disturbing moment here, and a very powerful scene, and it is what it is. And finally, at 42 minutes and 15 seconds, you're seeing waves of maybe the 1/8 of a person that remains in Leland's body. The 1/8 is the flickers of Leland kind of crying and crying for his daughter. And then the 7/8 of his soul is rapacious and evil. And that's what you're seeing in this scene. And maybe it's even a higher proportion, more evil than 1/8 being still Leland. But either way, really bad. And this is very significant in the show. Not really any details to unearth, though. You see it, you get it. Oh, that's it. Goodbye. God bless. Have a good day and enjoy your weekend or your weekday.